Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Pit Stop. We are recapping episode 6 of season 37. It smells like desert. Hi, Cayla. How's it going?
It's going. I'm just over here figuring out what does the desert smell like. That was like my first thing. I was like, huh?
Right? I love that you're drinking wine. I feel like I'm missing out because I know our guests are also drinking wine. So I'm having major FOMO. I'll just pretend I have wine in my Stanley.
No one has to know.
But I'm so excited for this recap because we are joined by some amazing race icons. I wrote a little intro, and so I wanted to make sure I did them justice. So today we have some very special guests joining us, Monica and Sheree, better known as the NFL wives from season 4. These two powerhouse women were determined to prove that they were more than just wives of pro athletes, that they were competitors in their own right. So I'm going to play a little clip.
Monica and Sheree, friends, NFL wives, and mothers from Atlanta, Georgia.
Sheree and I are both married to professional athletes who play for the Atlanta Falcons.
We've been cheering for them for so many years, so this is like a chance for them to put on their little skirts and pom-poms and cheer for us.
During their race, Monica and Sheree showed grit, determination, and strategic flair, teaming up at times with powerhouse teams like Riken and Chip and Tian and Jeree, forging unlikely alliances that helped them get to the top 7. But as with many great racers, one decision could have changed everything. In the very first leg, despite being safely in the middle of the pack, Monica and Sheree went for the fast forward, a move that secured them 4th place out of 12 teams, but later came at a cost. With that safety net gone, they'd later find themselves overwhelmed with the chaotic public transport in India, and without another fast forward to fall back on, their journey came to an end in 7th place. They raced with heart and hustle, so please join me in welcoming Monica and Sheree to the Pit Stop. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Cheers, ladies.
Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I'm fangirling a little bit. I know I just did an Amazing Race season 4, like rewind. I just did a whole thing with it last year, and I reached out to Monica on Instagram, and I was like, I loved you guys. You guys really are underrated, in my opinion. One of the better all-female teams from the whole franchise. So thanks for joining us. Of course. So before we start, like, how are you two doing? How's life since the race?
Oh my gosh, life is great. Busy. I think Sheree and I are both busy with our kids. They're all grown now, but I have a daughter who's engaged to be married, so wedding planning.
Congratulations.
Next month, and son's working, and then Sheree probably similar.
Yeah, no, I have 3 kids married actually already. So, and then my youngest daughter, who was a baby in that video, she's gonna be in Monica's daughter's wedding this October.
Amazing.
November.
But yeah, I am now a grandmother.
Wedding for athletes of their own. Like, we all have a lot going on, I'm sure, planning.
Yep. And I have 7 grandkids now. So yeah.
7.
If they ever want to do a grandpa edition, grandpa edition.
I don't have any grandkids yet. So
You have mine.
I adopted Sheree's grandkids as my own.
I love it. Well, when I had promoted that y'all were joining this recap, I got a lot of questions as well as a lot of love. So I do want to read some of them. Garrett from the Tar Hub Discord says, Queens, them and Tian and Jeree were my favorites. That season got so boring after they got eliminated back to back. Then Nicholas from the Tar Hub Discord says, oh my God, I cannot believe you got them for your recap. They're one of my all-time favorite female teams and one of the saving graces of season 4.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
A lot of love there. And I have some questions before we talk about the episode last night. Mike Hudson from Tar Reddit, I think I saw this on the Reddit page, asked if there was any leg this season so far that you wish you could have participated on.
Everyone.
I know.
Same, girl.
Dubai, for me, Dubai, like this last one, I would have loved to. The skydive and all of them didn't get to go underwater, but even on the boogie board, whatever those are, airplane boards, whatever. But those, I would have loved to have gotten on.
Yeah.
It was a fun leg. It was.
Yeah.
It felt like a big commercial advertisement for Dubai tourism.
Right. It did. It was.
I was like, I'm sold.
I know.
Right. I already wanted to go, but now I'm like,
Next trip.
The next
55 and up.
question, yes, the next question is from a poem said by Alandon in Red. They ask, were you ever contacted for a future season like All Stars season 11, 24, or even the Reality Clash season 31?
Yeah, we actually were. And we were really disappointed when they called us for season 11. I think it was
It was for season 11.
I mean, they were like making sure we were free. We were like, yes, we want to redeem ourselves.
We started working out again.
We were like hardcore. And all of a sudden they didn't pick us for whatever reason. And what was disappointing is to see that they picked two teams from season 1, two teams from season 7, and I think season 10. But our season was the first season to win an Emmy. I just had to point that out.
Exactly.
And they could have at least had somebody from us.
Exactly.
It wasn't us. We were just like felt slighted. We were like, wait, we won the Emmy for the very first time. Shouldn't somebody from our season have gotten?
Exactly.
100%.
So
That's so valid.
yeah.
Well, speaking of season 4, Arnasia Was Robbed asked, how do you think recent seasons differ from your original season?
You want to take that one or?
It's not as physical. I think we both felt like our season was extremely physical off the bat. Like it was running, racing. I think these seasons, there's a lot more, like artsy stuff, crafty stuff, doing more stuff like that where everybody's at an even playing field. I felt like our season, you had to be an athlete, and you could look at it and see everybody got kicked off that wasn't an athlete immediately.
It's definitely, and then what's different is the whole U-turn thing. One of the things that attracted me to the Amazing Race early on was because it was not based on who likes who, or if you're popular or getting kicked off the island kind of thing. And I don't love the fact that the U-turn comes into play, and if you're doing well, and it can, haunt you. So I like the older versions of the Amazing Race for that aspect.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think the twists have definitely evolved, and I do think it's not as physical, and it feels a little bit more controlled in the sense it feels more equalized. Almost every team's on an equal playing field. Like you don't have teams who are like 6 hours ahead. It's
right.
more like 5 to 10 minutes now.
Yeah.
So those are some great comparisons. Jay from the Tar Hub Discord asked, have you been keeping up with any of the seasons since yours?
I've only watched a little bit here and there, and I think if I'm being honest, I was a little in my feelings about, I watched right after we got off or kicked off and watched a few seasons. And then I stopped for a while when they didn't pick us for All Stars and they picked these other teams.
I was gonna say, so I think we watched until All Stars, and then we're
team that got invited to the Today Show. We had a really strong fan base, and they still reach out to us, which is so amazing. I love that our fans are, are people that still cheer us on and recognize us. It's amazing. And I mean, how many years ago? It was 2003, I think, when we were on the race. But I have started watching more. When I started talking to you, James, I went back to watch you because I had to, let me just see James, what he's doing, what's going on. This season has been great, but I was just saying, Sheree and I were talking, I feel like I'm back in the race watching the season.
Yeah, I know it does make you feel like
it brings back all these memories, and hearing Phil, how he said Monica and Sheree, like we're like, all of that, it comes rolling back.
I love it. Well,
I'm with you, Monica. I just want to say one thing. I'm with you, Monica, on like the being slighted. That's how I feel about the challenge. Like I got asked twice, and then I just like got ghosted. So everyone's like, oh, you're keeping up with the challenge. I'm like, no, I'm just and I will feel the same way about Amazing Race if there's ever like a callback for things and I don't even I hold a grudge.
I think
we did for a while. It took a while to start watching again.
That's valid. That is totally valid.
I told Bertram too, so he and I would talk, and I'm like, you know what? I'm mad at you. Like, was your favorite team? Because he would always say, "You guys are my favorites."
Well, my last question comes from Platrium from the Tar Hub Discord. They asked, are there any Amazing Race alumni that you still keep in touch with, whether it was on your season or another?
We did. We used to keep in touch with the air traffic controllers.
Yeah, I still talk to them. They all my.
You do?
I have a
See,
lot of.
I'm not on Facebook enough.
Yeah, they don't write me. They reach out. Let's see, air traffic controllers. I forgot the other guys. We talked to Riken and Chip for a long time, and
me and Riken still talk on social media.
But Dave and Mark, we went to California to visit them. Remember? And let's see, and I would talk to Jeree up until probably last year, maybe or so. We still are on Facebook and talk sometimes. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, they used to do more, like we used to have more reunion type stuff outside of television. So we would have little get-togethers, and I think that kept us together for a long time. Yeah.
Then I talked to Chip and Kim from season 5. I think they were like big supporters of ours early on, and we would always stay in contact. So a lot of people, just social media, it's nice that we have social media.
Yeah,
right.
And talk to all these different racers, and we all understand each other, what we went through.
Yes.
Because sitting at home, I tell my husband that he has no idea. Don't look at that edit, because I'm going to tell you what really happened. We think we're stupid. We really weren't stupid. We know certain things, and people just didn't know why we were doing, picking things to do. So, yeah.
Well, one thing about the Amazing Race that I've loved is the community that comes with it, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
And like you were saying, like we all get it. It's like this weird, like sorority fraternity, like you won't understand until you've done it. And so we can all kind of relate on some level, just like how hard it is and how it really does take a toll on you, on you physically, mentally, emotionally. So
and it's amazing. It's truly amazing. And anytime anybody asks me about it, that's my answer. They're like, how was Amazing Race? I'm like, amazing. I mean, it was like you said, it was all those crazy things, but yet just the places, when you go back in your mind and start thinking about the places that you went to and visited, you're like, wow, like I did that. I jumped off a tower,
Darn it. So funny. Well, Sheree and I talk about all the time, or we used to talk about all the time, that when we made it on The Amazing Race, that I'm the daredevil. So I'm like, I'm doing all of the crazy stuff, and she's the strength, and I was sick right when we had to do the bungee jump. So she had to do it. I was like really sick. And I just wanted to cry. I was like, I was supposed to be doing that.
Right. And even the week before, we did the challenge with the mask. And I'm very detailed. I'm the artsy person. I see detail. And Monica had to do it because I was super sick. So it's like, I gave her my sickness. So we should have been doing each other's events.
Well, I love hearing more about your experiences, and just really, again, appreciate you both being here to talk about this episode with us. I felt like it was so fitting with the fast forward making a comeback, and y'all actually got to do a fast forward. But before we talk about the episode, I want to just kind of get a feel for what was everyone's overall thoughts.
I'll go first. It was like lacking something for me. Like you said it perfectly earlier, James. It was kind of just like a commercial for Dubai is kind of how I felt. However, did that commercial sell? It did. This was so fun. Like honestly, like the very beginning was my favorite, just because like the shock factor of like, oh my gosh, we're in Dubai. And then I just loved how Alyssa's partner Josiah, like the whole drum where they got to meet and all get to hang out and sleep together. Like my favorite time personally on Amazing Race was when we camped all together with all the other teams. We weren't secluded in a hotel room. We weren't separated. Like that was truly like a big sleepover. So like I could feel like how fun that probably was for them. Granted, did they maybe get the best night's sleep? No, but like I did love that. I loved that element of it. Other than that, I felt like it was like a pretty cookie cutter, just like let's show the glamour and glitz and like how awesome and adventurous like Dubai is. Like I think they gave us a lot the previous episode with the double U-turn and all that. So, you know, I take it, you know, with that. But yeah, it was, I don't know, like it was an okay episode. Like Dubai speaks for itself. You know what I mean?
Dubai was the star of the show.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's really like that was really my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about sleepovers, y'all got nice sleepovers. We all had a sleepover on a rock outside of Bollywood, and it was about 12 of us sleeping on a rock.
Oh my
Animals
God.
walking past us. You know,
we could hear the wild boar going past us. And every car because a lot of the actresses come into Bollywood in the middle of the night. So all of the cars passing by, the smell of the toilet that was just a hole in the ground right next to us.
No. Oh
Yeah.
no.
And we were all bonded up like we were in one womb on a rock, on a slab, on a concrete slab.
Ryan.
So that was our overnights. Lovely that you had a lovely overnight. And that they did.
Cool. I was like, really? They get to sleep like that?
I know they probably take such better care of us nowadays. They put us up in the nicest hotels.
Are you serious?
Oh,
They
room
take
service
much better
today.
care of us now. Are you kidding? They had people shave their heads and
I
get watermelons. I'm like, we all have it. Like myself included. We had it pretty cush.
I see that we had it better than others, but I can tell that because it's so popular, each season, there's different things that are a little bit better. And
Right.
Sheree and I were talking earlier, and I said, God, if we could just go back in time, we came on, I think, 1 or 2 seasons too soon, because we were further ahead, and we would have probably won. I really feel confident to say that, but it was too soon, and I just got excited when I saw they're casting. Let's go. And I should have did Survivor at that time because I was going to audition for Survivor. And my husband at the time, he was like,
Not too late, Monica.
Yeah.
Monica on Survivor.
Yes.
bad knees now. So I needed the Monica when she was like, 25 to 60. The 52-year-old, no.
Monica and Sheree, what did y'all think of the episode?
Because I've always wanted to go to Dubai, so I liked it because it gave me a little over there. So the commercial sold me. Cayla, man. But I think for me, it was sad because, of course, it was the same episode we got kicked off on, so it was a little sentimental. And the father and son, I had a little heart for them because they were so sweet. Every time he would say Pops, it made me think of Lamont Sanford from Sanford and Son. Remember, he used to call him Pops on that show. And I was like, that's so sweet. So, it was sad to see them get kicked off. Really sad.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I was disappointed for them because I really thought they could have went further. And, of course, I'm sure like people were doing with us, you're yelling at your TV, like, get on the train, go. Stop, and I understand they were trying to be cautious to make sure they didn't get on the wrong one, but that was a tough one. Even like the one before last week, the parents of the 8, and I just felt so bad. I'm like, when is the part of the race that comes when they say they said last week you may be eliminated,
right?
Eliminated. And I'm like, wait a time, and this is to Sheree and I, and we were thinking, even with we came in last, there's a chance that maybe we won't be eliminated. Yeah, and they still didn't do it even the next episode after we got eliminated. So
I wonder if they'll, because they haven't done non-eliminations in a minute.
Right.
And Cayla, like you didn't have any on your season, right?
Didn't have any.
Well, it was supposed to be no non-elimination legs. And then COVID happened.
Oh,
so we got sent home from COVID. Some teams didn't return. So they brought back eliminated teams, but we were still a team short to where one of the legs did end up being a non-elimination because we were short teams coming back post-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we were supposed
So there
to
hasn't been
no
no
non-elimination.
elimination. Ah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see it at some point because it is the season of surprises. And I feel like non-elimination is a twist in the race. So we have to see it at some point, right?
You know what? You're right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe next week with the double U-turn. We'll
Because
see.
I mean, how many more twists can they pull out of their bag of tricks? You know what I mean?
Right.
Not everything right now. Let's see what sticks.
Right.
Well, as we know, teams are traveling to Dubai this leg, which we've already said was like a big glorified commercial for Dubai tourism. They definitely nailed it on the head. I feel like all the tasks that they've done throughout this leg really highlighted just how adventurous this city is and how vibrant and lively things can be. What I liked at the start of this leg, though, was I want to give some praise to Jack and Carson. We know that they're gamers. And when I interviewed them I didn't interview them a couple weeks ago, but I interviewed Ernest and Bridget.
Okay.
And when they were flying to Japan, they had 3 teams on the same flight, and they were trying to figure out what twist was going to come this leg. And they talked about a hypothetical intersection. And lo and behold, there was an intersection.
Yeah.
But this leg, we have Jack, and I'm going to play the clip.
Yes, we've had several negative twists in a row, so I feel like it has to be like a fast forward or something like that.
Yeah.
We love foreshadowing. Is he psychic or what? That's like the way that they're able to kind of like anticipate what's coming is so impressive. And I just think it speaks to their fandom. Like they clearly are knowledgeable of the race to kind of already know what could producers be throwing at us. This
Exactly.
Very
And
impressive.
they put the fast forward at a perfect spot in the race.
I know.
Don't put it near the end like you did with our season, you know, where we think we're going to jump to the front.
Are we still bitter? Yes.
Damn. Just letting you know.
One thing we've been talking about on our recap the last few weeks is just how much team interaction we've been getting this season, because I do think that was kind of lost on a couple of seasons. It reminds me a lot of the earlier seasons of the race. So being able to see like Jonathan and Anna confront the teams that you turned them in the airport, I was like, I like these moments. We need more team interaction just to kind of help us understand, because as we know from doing the race, there is so much that happens.
Right.
They're on or even off camera that never makes the show. So it just kind of helps paint this picture for us to understand the dynamics between the teams in the race.
100%. Yeah. We had a similar incident in the airport. So we get it 100%. We're like, go say something because we forget.
I think, look, that was the title of our first episode. It was.
There needs to be like its own separate series of just like the airport talk.
It does.
So much goes down.
All the time.
All the time.
That would be a good hour episode for them.
Instead of saying that goes down the DMs, they just say it goes down the airport.
Once they land in Dubai, they have to make their way to a Bedouin camp to select a release time. Again, this is like throwing it back to just the earlier seasons of the race, them having to scramble to get to this spot to, find out what destination they're going to get the next morning. And not even that, but it turns into this incredible, like glorified desert sleepover, as we talked about already. Wow. I was obsessed. I was having FOMO. I wanted to be there.
So jealous. I'm so jealous.
I think, Cayla, you might have said it, but I don't think anyone probably slapped either because that looked uncomfortable as it did.
Really?
You forgot about the concrete slab.
Yeah, it was great in theory. But then I'm also like, okay, well, maybe all that stuff was on sand. Like that, again, it's better than the rock y'all slapped.
I mean,
yes.
of concrete outside, nothing to protect us from the elements. It was horrible.
Right. Next to a poo-poo hole. Right there.
In India.
Right there.
It just looked magical, like the little dance party. And
It did. No, it did.
Cute.
I would have loved a dance party.
Yeah, it looked like it could be like a wedding reception, like that, like a venue for a wedding.
Yes.
One of my favorite moments was when they were going to the camp, and it was with Mark and Brett.
What's your favorite part about Dubai?
Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa? Wait, what does Wiz Khalifa have to do with Dubai?
Big tower.
Oh, this big tower is called Wiz Khalifa. That's cool.
I was cracking up. I'm like,
I was too.
I missed that. That's the first time I heard that.
so
I was like,
funny.
wait, what's happening?
And they
was
just,
so
I
good.
wonder if did anybody ever tell them, or do they still believe that building's called Wiz Khalifa?
I've known Mark for years. We actually worked a job together like 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And so I've been very excited watching this season because of him and Brett in particular. But I texted him and I was like, look, the Wiz Khalifa comment took me out. Like that was so funny. And he said, girl, they let us run around for 2 days yelling Wiz Khalifa. And no one corrected us.
So horrible.
That's hilarious.
Oh, poor thing. They're so, I like them. They're one
But
of my,
you know, they kind of remind me of the Chip and Riken of
Uh-huh.
our season. You know what I mean? Like they have that. They're like gorgeous.
Yes.
Both of them are gorgeous, you know, and they just like fit and they just have this glow, like light about them. You know what I mean? Like good people. You just
I
tell
love
they're
that.
good people.
That's a compliment. And then Chip and Riken went to win. So maybe that's
No.
foreshadowing Brett and Mark.
Right.
they're a strong team. Yeah. And I like the way they talk to each other too. That's
I
I
do
do
too. I
too.
love the way they talk to
I
each
do
other.
too. I do too. Very supportive.
yeah.
Like we were.
And to this day.
We still
Yes.
are, yes.
Yeah. One thing, I had a few criticisms about this episode in particular, but one of them being the departure times. I just felt like
Oh yeah.
10 minutes was so interesting to me because I would assume it would have been like 30. I feel like that's wasn't that how it was in the earlier seasons? It
Yes,
was a
it was,
larger
yeah.
gap. But even with the
It was
10
like
minutes,
28 minutes, 30
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah, it was, yeah.
it just didn't seem like, I mean, sure, 10 minutes in the race might feel like eternity while you're racing, but it's really also not. But
Yeah.
I just felt like there could have been a bigger gap, but I'm also grateful there wasn't because the whole leg just felt so linear. Like it just felt like the same groups were racing together the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't give anybody a chance to,
Catch up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they got to do
going
this
on
cool-
camels? Are you
Yes.
kidding?
The camel ride looked amazing. I
Yeah.
know Jack and Carson mentioned they were just like living out their gaming fantasies. But the weather and how quick it changed, I thought was just so
That was
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah.
That was scary because I was thinking every leg I'm always imagining what would Sheree and I have done on this leg or how would we have felt, like you go back into race mode when you're
Right.
so,
Right.
I was like, wow, that was scary. It just changed so quickly.
Right. And then I could have done better than that. We all think, and that's how every shoot we all think we could have did better than
Exactly.
that. Better than that.
It's easier to say it from the couch.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's good.
In our departure groups, we had Jonathan and Anna at 5:10, Han and Holden, Josiah and Alyssa, Jack and Carson, and then leaving at 5:20 was Melinda and Erica, Pops and Jeff, Brett and Mark, Nick and Mike. And it brought them to their roadblock clue, who wants to drop into Dubai. And this leg's first roadblock, one team member had to perform a tandem skydive over Dubai before reuniting with their partner and receiving their next clue. Obviously, skydiving tests on the race just feel so classic, and just the aerial shots that they got during the entire task of Dubai and of the teams, and just like the face, it was just chef's kiss. It was hilarious. It was so fun. But my only gripe again was that getting to the sign-in board for the plane, like, of course, group 1 was going to get on plane 1. Of course, group 2 is going to get on plane 2.
Right.
I wondered if they weren't anticipating that because they had to make their way on foot to the skydiving place, and maybe teams would have gotten lost, but that first group just kind of like ran together. So maybe they were kind of anticipating more people getting lost. I don't know. But
yeah.
Too equalized.
Very equalized.
What did y'all think about the skydiving?
I was jealous. I would love to do that, especially in Dubai. But,
yeah.
It reminded me of the bungee jump we did. I see a lot of similarities through the seasons. You know what I mean? Like I can look at certain things and be like, oh, that reminds me of our episode. The same, you know what I mean? Same casting, same type of people.
I just love the sweet moment of Josiah and Alyssa where like I don't think he planned on getting so emotional. And then I was literally sitting on the couch like, Colton, would you cry if I went up there? You know, like I'm gonna be so happy when she's down here. You know, I was just like, I just love them as a couple. And it's, you know, obviously as every team gets eliminated, you get more time and like you get to see more of like the team's dynamics just from like a, you know, the air time that each team gets. Yeah. But like I just thought that was really sweet because they've been a very strong team. Yeah. So it's just cute to see like an intimate moment. And then for them to then, you know, go to her and she's literally at the air. She's just like, I'm just so thankful. Like, thank you for letting me do this. I can't wait to get down on the ground to you. And I'm like, oh, that's just so sweet. Because had it been me in the air, I probably wouldn't have been thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get down on the ground to you, Colton. Like, I'd be like, this is awesome. Like, you know,
I feel like get me to the ground now. No, I know,
right? It really touched me too because like I said, everything that happens each season.
I know what you can say.
But when Sheree was doing our season, Sheree's not a heights person, and I was supposed to do it, but I was sick, and I was just sitting there, just so worried about her, and I'm just like, oh God, please let her just be okay to make it down. And when she got down, I just remember saying, "Is she okay?" I'm asking them, "Is she okay?" Say something, and Sheree just like you know, I think she. But it reminded me, and hearing Josiah about his wife, I just thought that was so sweet, and just it brought me like right back to
that moment. Yeah,
it was funny.
Like I said, same casting. Like it all trickles down. It's kind of like the same scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That touch you and make you keep watching.
I'm surprised that no one had a meltdown though, because there's so many times on the race where there's like that classic meltdown. Someone is like, I hate the heights. I can't believe I have to do this. And then they're like freaking out. And you're like, are they going to jump? Are they going to actually follow through?
Well, no, what's his name melted down last week? What's his face? Remember he couldn't go anymore with the coconuts.
Oh,
yes, Jonathan.
He had his breakdown.
Yeah, that's true.
He did. I'm sorry I said what's his face, but no.
You're okay. You're okay. There's 14 teams.
I'm good with faces.
No, there's 14 teams this season. There's a lot to keep up with.
It's different. I actually printed out me because I was like, let me look at my name so I can know. See my little cheat sheet.
Yes.
I'm like, you know, I like to know names. I'm like, let me remind
myself. That's amazing.
You're like, I have to remember that name. I have to remember my American Idol picks names. I have to remember.
As you get older, see, you guys are still young. As you get to my age, you have to do notes like that because our mind is a little, you know, scatterbrained.
I think it's too much shit. It's efficient. Well, that brought us to our fast forward. Love seeing the fast forward making a comeback. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've seen it since season 29, but I'm sure whoever's watching live maybe could correct me. But the fast forward was back. Again, just a little bit of a criticism with this. It was so anticlimactic in the sense that obviously Jack and Carson were going to go for it because that was the first one to the ground. And then of course Hun and Holden are going to consider it because they're the second one down, but nobody in group 2 would have had a shot to go for the
No.
So it really only came down to 2 teams duking it out. And I was like, okay, this could be a fun little showdown. Like they're both going to try to go after the fast forward. But then they're just having to find this luxury orange car room for one team. In earlier seasons, the way the fast forward was designed was that anybody could go for the fast
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
And it would have made it exciting to see the teams. It's like that risk versus reward. Like, do you go after it and think that you might perform better than the other team? And if you don't, you're going to lose time and you have to go back and retrace your steps. I don't know. What did y'all think?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it was so obvious of who was going to get it. And now that I want to just keep telling you guys about what we did. I do have to, every time I talk about the Amazing Race, I have to tell people when they ask us all the time, why would you guys have taken the fast forward?
Wait.
You want to say this?
I want to hear this story, but I got the clip.
In this fast forward, teams need to find this field in nearby Paso Jale, put on snowshoes, and trek to the top of this snowy hill. The first team to reach the route marker on the top can claim the fast forward.
The fast forward looked easier than it was. I thought, oh, we'll get there quickly. But the snow was knee-deep. We fell several times. Congratulations! You won the fast forward.
So I will say, y'all, I did get that question from a few fans. Like MK from the Tar Hub Discord asked, what was your logic for going for the fast forward during your first leg?
All the time. And I just had to say for Sheree and I, no one knew what was, first of all, let me just say, you're a racer, you're looking at the previous season. We only had 3 seasons. To look at.
Right.
Each of those 3 seasons, the people who took the fast forward got first place.
Yes. Rest.
We were there waiting, even though we were in the middle of the pack, and we felt confident we could not get a taxi. They would not stop for us. We stood there for so long. Then panic sets in. You're like, oh my God, we are not going to get eliminated because of
Because we almost got eliminated before that. So we were,
So we thought, let's just get one leg. We'll jump ahead of the pack. We can calm down and restart. So we do it. First of all, it's too late in the race. They shouldn't put the fast forward there. And then we get there and they're talking, you're team number 4. We're like, what? Did you just say 4? After we got to the hotel, we're like, to our little room, we're like, did they just say 4? And we didn't get number 1 and we didn't win a prize or anything. Nothing. We're so mad.
That's a good point. You're right. When you are on a show, you typically should go back and kind of watch earlier seasons to understand the show. And at that time, you only had 3 seasons to go back on. And historically speaking, you get the fast forward, you get first.
Not ours.
Valid.
So we were just thinking, give ourselves a little mind break because no one understands. Like you guys know, you don't really sleep. You are running like nonstop. It's like and I always tell people, it's like being drunk when you're sleep deprived. You are making these quick split-minute decisions. So people think, why are you doing that? Or why did you do that? I'm like, because we were exhausted.
Exactly.
We thought we're going to get eliminated. And it's going to be so stupid because we could just go do the fast forward. And then it didn't work out like we thought it was going to work out.
Right. And we had something to prove too. You have to think before our season, every Black team got kicked off on the first episode. So we were like, we are going to show them that we
and you were a female.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we was like, no.
Trust me, I get it.
Yeah, we were like, Monica's IQ is ridiculously high. So we knew that we were going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so we was like, no, we got stuff to prove. We had a lot to prove and we had babies. So we were mothers. So we really felt like we had a lot to prove.
Yeah. And look our kids to come on the race.
Yeah, we did. Our babies were 1. My daughter started walking like a week before we left.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Lewis from season 34, hey Lewis, said the same thing happened with Becca and Floyd. They did the fast forward and got 3rd.
I understand.
To me, with this fast forward, it was just giving like completion award. Like
right.
You know, like, and I hate that like these days. It's like, oh well, if you just choose to do like, like it wasn't like rewarding enough. And it's like, the fact that only one person can fit in the car, I don't know. It just I expected more.
who's tired from scuba dive? We had to hike up a mountain.
If you go back and look at the clip, you'll hear me breathing like my lung was about to explode.
Yeah, well, and again, only one team got to do it. It's not like there were 4 teams jumping in the pool at once, and it's just whoever finds it first gets it.
Right.
That would have been like that would have been
great. That would have been amazing.
Swim, and you better find who. It's like a scavenger hunt, like first one to find the gold.
Actually, that would have been amazing.
Yeah,
that would have been.
It's like they got their wires crossed because the express pass on what led to 3 teams went for it, and you got to watch them do the task to get the express pass. That is what the fast forward should have been. This could have been just to kind of get an express pass, but it is what it is. Congrats to Jack and Carson. This is nothing to do with you boys. You went for it.
They finally got their first place, and they're
not going to slide under the radar for much longer.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Not with that U-turn next week.
Once you get first place, a target's on your back.
Well, the teams that didn't go for the fast forward had to do some afternoon tea time at the Atlantis in Dubai. And they essentially had to follow the example of a platter with garnishes to an afternoon tea platter in order to receive their next clue. I would say this is a fun task in the sense that a lot of teams were there together. So it felt very chaotic, and it was like really anyone's race at this point. 100%. So sure, if it was an ad for the hotel, yes, it sold us. We probably would all want to stay there.
I'll go.
And the chef was really, really.
Oh, we were like
nice looking.
Those eyes were piercing.
I was like, Han was like, she was like, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah, he was party.
Very.
I'm going to France next month. I might.
Other than that, though, the task just felt very straightforward. I feel like multiple teams got it in their first or second attempt, so it wasn't like anything too crazy. It was just kind of fun to see all the teams being there together at once. But a simple task. But a lot of people tripped up over those little white flowers.
Gosh.
Which was interesting because that's kind of something you would think because it's not part of the. Yeah, you would think that would be something you would.
I would have missed that too.
I would have got it.
Artistic one. I'm more like I can remember numbers. I can run, but details like that. No,
she's fast.
Well, especially like this far into the race. Not saying that they're super far into the race, but it's like you've had a couple detail-oriented tasks so far, where it's like, come on.
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
I would have been looking even more so at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
But I did like the follow-up to this task, which was at Burj Al Arab Public Beach. It was our second roadblock, which was kind of nice to see 2 roadblocks in one leg.
Yes.
Get a detour this leg. But for this roadblock, I'll play the clip while I speak on it. Who's ready to ride a wave? And this second roadblock, one team member had to surf past 3 buoys, essentially from buoy 1 to 2. They had to get up on their feet. And then from buoy 2 to 3, they had to balance and ride it to the 3rd buoy. If they fell, they would have to go back and do it again. If they were able to do this successfully, then they would get their next clue. This looked like a lot of fun. Again, Dubai, you're selling us. We get it.
100%. Right. I'm so jealous. I was definitely thinking, oh God, that looks so fun. Yeah, hard also because it's always harder than what we think,
Right. No, exactly. But fun. I would have definitely done either one.
Yeah, for sure.
I was hoping though, because I know they've done this on a few seasons. They did it on Mine and Will's, where whoever did the first roadblock, the next roadblock clue would have said, whoever did the first roadblock can't do this one.
That's what ours was.
I almost wish they would have done that.
I do too, because I didn't like that so far in the season, some people have been able to do multiple in a row. And I'm like, no, make it level it out. If you pick this first one, the next person has to do the next one. So that made it a little more interesting. So.
Well, and we heard Jeff and Pops, for instance. I think Jeff had said that Pops had already done 4 roadblocks up until this point, and Jeff had only done 2. So he's like, I have to do this. Like, I need to make sure. Because I know it was different in the earlier seasons, but I do think now the rule is like once one person gets to 5 roadblocks, they can't do anymore. So that's why you see more often kind of balancing it out.
Yeah, I like the balancing it out. And I was wondering when Jeff and Pop said that, he said that, I'm thinking, even with him climbing up the one tower to get the clue, I'm like, why wouldn't you have done that? Like, I mean, your dad, I know your dad, I mean, dad's ripped, and dad was, dad, go dad. I was thinking, come on, you got to step in there or something. You can't let him do everything, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But they were so sweet. I was sad to see them go.
I was too.
It was no surprise though that Han got it on her first.
I mean, come on,
surfer.
That was for her. You know what I mean? Like she's a surfer.
The past two of them were for her.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about the one before.
No, but if they had made it alternate, it wouldn't have been as
right.
Yeah.
But it was good. I like that episode, or that task, I should say.
This brings us to the most exciting point in the episode for me. I think the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes were like where all the hype was in terms of just like different elements happening. And of course, who doesn't love a foot race? Because the adrenaline from the couch. Oh, I was feeling it.
Me too.
Oh, my anxiety was through the roof.
Back to our episode.
So essentially, after the second roadblock, teams had to travel by taxi to all of the Emirates metro station, and then by Dubai Metro to the Pitstop, which would have been the Museum of the Future. And pretty much any team before these two had like foot race. It seemed pretty self-explanatory, the order from that point forward. But I did interview Pops and Jeff, and so I'm going to play a clip from the interview so we can talk about what went down.
Okay,
I was gonna say you left before Nick
quite
and
a
Mike.
bit before them.
Yeah, and you got to the metro station, and there seemed to be a little bit of a hesitation of whether you wanted to get on that train or not. So I have to ask, because it could have gone one or two ways, right? Like, let's say that train wasn't the right train. Would you have preferred to have gotten on the wrong train, or would you prefer to have done the foot race with Nick and Mike?
I would prefer to do a foot race with Flojo or somebody. You know what I mean? Than to get on the wrong train, go in the wrong direction. So what I can say about that situation, all year we've been wondering, like, could we have made it on that train? We could not have made it on that train. You can't run in that place. So as you watch it, you see we're moving towards the door. We never like stopped and said, hold on, we need to check the train. We're still moving towards the door. We're talking about it, but we're wondering, we're making sure as we're asking somebody as we go. But you got to imagine, I would have had to made it on, then Pops would have had to made it on, and the guy getting that money shot 10 feet away would have had to make it on. We couldn't have made it on that train regardless. So,
well, that's good. So no regrets. You don't have any regrets.
No regrets. Now, did I have sleepless nights when I got back? Of course. But like I said, talking to him, and he said the same thing all year, like the crew wouldn't have made it. And then watching it back, we could not have made it on that train.
Well, if you want to watch the rest of that interview, it is up on our YouTube channel right now. I love Pops and Jeff. They're amazing guys. They had a lot to say about their time in Dubai. But this moment, I mean, not knowing the full details, I was like, why didn't you just get on the train?
But to be fair, they made a very, very good point.
Yes.
Would the crew have made it?
No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have.
Yes. And for a lot of people that have not been on the race, there are a lot of elements behind the scenes that, like, one, they don't want you to know, or they don't want us to share, you know, but so I won't like give away too much, but it's like, how do you think they make the show? There is a camera and an audio person that has to stay
all times.
If you and your partner are within so many feet away from each other on a foot race, like you're getting screamed at and you can get a penalty.
100%. That, and thank you.
Like, let's say they made it on there. We saw it with, what was it? Oh my gosh, the teal team, mom and son. Remember they lost their crew where it's like, maybe they made it on the train, but if they lost their crew, they were going to be held up anyways.
100%.
So it's just, those are like the things that, when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I'm sure they're beating themselves up over about like, could I have gotten on that train? it just, I think it played out how it was going to play out regardless. Even if I don't think their crew would have made it. I think they would have just been slapped with the penalty. That's just my thought on it. But I mean, that's stuff that I would lose sleep over like later. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And unfortunately, the people who've not been on the show, they don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And I know plenty of times, Sheree and I were extremely fast. To the point where they would say, "Stop!"
No, yeah, they didn't know we were going to be as fast as. Hey, wait. I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't know we were going to be as fast as we were. So they didn't. We had a slow crew.
The first time, the first leg. After that,
they finally realized that we were fast.
So maybe going for the fast forward, that first leg was actually brilliant because of your slow production.
It was a reason behind it. I tell people all the time, it looks like on TV, like that was stupid. Why would they have done it? You don't know all the things that's happening behind.
You know what? You might be right. Actually, James, I think that I'm making that connection. I think you're right.
Like, what if you didn't go for it? And then
we might have got kicked off with our slow crew.
Changing the tape in the middle of the thing. We're like, dude.
We would have gotten kicked off.
Oh, I did clip the foot race, so we can relive it. I'm gonna play the
good.
Hold on, boss. I'm whistling. Come on, this way, boss. Come on, Mike. Thoughts. Come on, boss. Mike, come on, stop. Come on, I'm whistling.
Oh my God! Hey guys, nice job, nice job.
Let's go.
The pops.
You know, I never want to say I was rooting for someone to go home because I don't feel that way. I just was rooting for Pops and Jeff to stay.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen them get there. And it's nothing against Nick and Mike.
No, at all. Right.
I love them too. But
there's just something about Pops and Jeff.
I know. They were so sweet.
I was like, what? Pops, run.
I know. They were so sweet.
I was like, oh.
And he was probably pushing and exerting himself like to the absolute, epitome of what he could do. And there was no more gas in the tank.
And like Monica said, I mean, Pops looked good to be Pops. Like he's in crazy shape. But
he also had a bum ankle. And he told me in the interview that has since been healed. He has been recovered, no more bum ankle. But it was just heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, I know.
And I did tell them, I was like, look, as undesirable of an outcome as it was, you went out in such a big fashion, like in such a classic Amazing Race way that people are going to remember, people are going to talk about, like, and I also appreciated just how they went out on such a high note. You get eliminated and sometimes they can be a little sour, but with Pops and Jeff, gosh, they were just so grateful.
They were.
Gratitude was coming through. They were so appreciative for the experience, and I made me fall in love with them even more.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go out in any way, I would rather it be an all-out drag down race than me be 3 hours behind everybody and like everyone just knew and were waiting for us to get to the mat to be eliminated.
Right.
Like if you're gonna go out, like that's the way to do it.
Yes.
100%.
Well, that's not the way we went out, but okay. Thanks, Cayla, for bringing up bad memories.
Cayla's not anymore.
Thanks, Cayla.
My drink back, Cayla.
You can have no more wine. You are done.
Bessie.
Trying to make Pops feel better.
The placements this leg were Jack and Carson obviously getting to the pit stop first, thanks to the fast forward. Amazing leg by these two. Second, Han and Holden. Third, Alyssa and Josiah. Fourth, Brett and Mark. Fifth, Jonathan and Anna. Sixth, Melinda and Erica. Seventh, Nick and Mike. And sadly, we say goodbye to Pops and Jeff. They will definitely be missed
Yes.
moving forward. And with next week's episode 7, Be One with the Hay, for the first time ever on The Amazing Race, teams are traveling to the country of Bulgaria.
No.
Face a surprise double U-turn. Also, it's a self-driving leg, which, as we know, a lot of drama comes from the self-driving leg. So I cannot wait. And then pairing that with a double U-turn, ooh, I'm sure we're in for some good drama.
Oh yeah, can't wait. I'm looking forward.
Double U-turn again and self-drive.
Yes.
It's giving.
Yeah, we saw Jonathan and Anna look like they were having some major trouble with their vehicle. Jack and Carson getting lost. Like, oh, it's giving classic Amazing Race. I'm excited for next week's episode. Tom O'Neill asked, so now that there's a top 7, which team are you all rooting for?
Let me pull out my little handy dandy.
Yes.
Oh, me, I love Alyssa and Josiah. I like them a lot. I love Brett and Mark. They're one of my favorites too. And yeah, maybe Nick and Mike. I think they're going to be the top 3.
Oh,
you think who's going to be the top 3?
You think Nick and people are sleeping on Nick and Mike, huh?
I think they are. I think that they are that silent. They act like a little like, oh, I don't know, kind of. Yeah. That's kind of how we dealt with that before with Mark and Jeff, I think, or Mike and Jeff, I should say. But I think.
Oh yeah. And then they turned it up right when they needed to.
Well, what could change a lot is this double U-turn. Like if they get out Carson and Jack, who are clearly up at the top, and honestly, I don't know. But they have a shot. I was gonna say, like, I feel like my answer changes every 2 weeks or so.
Exactly.
But right now, my top, who I'm rooting for is Josiah and Alyssa. That just moment today, I don't know, they're just such a young couple, and that would just be such a cool thing to do. And I don't know, I it's weird. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like they're kind of living really in the moment and really enjoying this whole thing together. And it's not so much like, oh my God, Amazing Race. And just something about that is sweet to me. Yeah. So I'm rooting for them, I think.
They're one of my favorites. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for a long shot. I'm going to say Melinda and Erica.
Yes. They are the last all-female team standing, and I love that they keep acknowledging and recognizing it. And honestly, a mother-daughter duo, I thought.
Well, that's what I was thinking, the mother-daughter concept of it.
We haven't seen a mother-daughter duo do this well since
in a long time.
Nancy and Emily season 1.
Yeah, right. So maybe it's time.
Yeah. And let me just say too, because I don't want anybody to think I like all the teams that are there.
I do too.
I like about each of them. It's just certain things that's going to always pull you towards a certain team more than others, because I love that the all-female team is still there, because that's a really hard thing to do. People don't realize how hard it is to have 2 females together.
Right.
You just because of the strength and certain things, you do need a guy on so many times. But I love how people talk to each other. That's one of my big things. And, so like Josiah, first thing I'm like them, just the people, even what's the husband's
Lori and Scott. Lori and Scott.
Love them. How they cheer for each other. It's just that inspires me.
Yeah.
So, it's not because I don't like the other teams. I just like that supportive vibe.
I'm still sad about Lori and Scott. I'm still sad about Lori and Scott.
Me too.
There was any time to save somebody.
They're my favorites too.
I've got to give some credit to Han and Holden. I think that they had a bumpy start. They had a bumpy start. They found their way to the top, and I feel like they're, now that they know what being at the top tastes like, I think that they're not going to let each other down. I think they're going to fight extra harder. And we keep getting these nice little nuggets with them in every episode. Like this leg in particular, we learned a little bit about their sister. And I just feel like they're kind of like getting the audience to just be like, ooh, keep their eye on Han and Holden.
Right.
I agree.
I can see them getting far in the race, but again, with what you were saying, Monica, like Nick and Mike, people might be sleeping on them. They are super fans. They've applied for years, and
they've been watching.
No matter what leg placements you get, it's just the last one.
Exactly.
Matters. It's the last.
Exactly.
And yeah, I agree with what you were saying, James. Like Han and Holden, I didn't love them in the beginning because just how they were yelling at each other. But I was like, oh wait, they're brother and sister. Okay, yes. I'm gonna give you a pass. But they have grown on me as the like support, and that they've seen that they can do well together.
Yeah,
and that supportive side has came out, so it made me like really relate to them more. It's not again, not just like anybody, just to relate. You have to relate because everybody finds teams on each season that they relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the whole supportive side, talking like that's why I know Sheree was the person I was supposed to be with, because she never said anything negative. Even when I came out and I'm like put us in almost last place, she didn't say anything nasty or crazy. It was just like, let's go, let's run. And that's what you need with your stress beyond belief. You're panicking. If your partner's yelling at you and saying something crazy, it doesn't help. It doesn't make you feel better.
No.
It's easier said than done sitting here now, but I guess that's why I always like relate to the teams that are just this supportive.
Yeah, and positive and uplifting. Like it was just so funny when Holden was like, "Yeah, that's my girl," and he was, "Oh my God, I need my sister."
They're so funny.
That was hilarious.
They're just like naturally funny, and I do think, they're kind of, you know, the early legs are kind of that learning curve of the race. I think Han and Holden are finally finding their footing. I think they know how to work together.
Yeah.
So I can see them just going far. To wrap up the recap, I guess my last question for you, Monica and Sheree, is the rumor on the street is season 40 is going to be a celebration. It's going to be a returnee season. It's been 25 years. The 25th anniversary for the show is next year. So if Bertram comes calling, what are you going to do it?
Play. Come on, James, now. Like, let me start working out now.
Right.
Old knees, like you get these old knees ready. But I think Sheree and I will be there.
Girl, we would have climbed that little what was the older women on the second episode? They had to climb up to the top.
Yeah, the purple team.
We would have climbed that thing like a tree monkey. I would have
not the tree monkey. Dang. Jackie and Lauren.
Yes.
I would have been up that tree so damn fast or whatever that was.
I love Jackie.
I mean, I think if our fans just tell everybody they want to see Monica and Sheree again,
right?
We'll be 54 and 50. We can do the oldest team on the race.
That would be
well, I would love to see it. I mean, again, you're an underrated team from the.
I'm like, who's old? I'm not old. I'm seasoned.
I'm seasoned.
Ready for the 40th season.
I love it. Well, Monica and Sheree, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and recap this episode. It's fun to hear what y'all have been up to and just a little bit more about your experience on the race. And you're welcome back on our recap anytime.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate
you guys. We had a good time.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support and all the comments. We're here.
I loved our wine time.
I drunk on mine. I'm like,
James. You need to have. Oh, I had AJ refill mine because Cayla did the same. And I was like, I had my son's like.
I was texting my husband, please bring more wine. He didn't get it.
I guess I didn't get the memo tonight, lady.
Exactly.
So.
Next time, James. Be prepared.
And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back again next week. And I think Leo and Alana from my season will be joining us, fitting with the U-turn being back. Thank you everyone. And we'll see you.
This was so fun.
See you. Bye guys.
Bye y'all.